only guest that doesn't have their own biological children that are going to be on. But I think it's important because of the services you offer, especially specifically to my daughter and other women and children. I think, we were talking, you're like, I basically have 150 kids. I'm like, yes.
That's true.
So, why don't you go ahead and intro yourself? Cause I don't want to do a disservice to it. And then we're just going to jam.
So first, my name is Kelly Beringson. I'm the head owner and operator of Theologist Jiu Jitsu, also the head instructor. So I am a certified black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
Kind of a big deal.
Thank you. It took a little while to get there.
Yeah.
I fell into Jiu Jitsu via actually Ronda Rousey.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I remember Ronda Rousey. Yeah.
You have to.
Yes.
Ronda. She was recently on a Stars with Mars show or something, and it brought her popularity back.
Really? Yeah.
But no, I had been like diagnosed disabled.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was told I would not be able to walk anymore, that everything was just so negative, right? Mm-hmm. And I was 315 pounds.
Wow.
At the time. Yeah. And sitting on my couch, pretty much unable to walk, accepting so much depression, so much sadness. And I saw the UFC for the first time. I'm not somebody who came through this like, I did karate when I was little. I did taekwondo. I've done boxing. No, I had some street fights. But other than that, it was one of those situations where I saw her on television and I said, I'm going to do that.
Wow.
And everybody's like, yeah, right. You can't even walk. I'm like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Skip forward a couple years. And
How old were you at that time? If you don't mind me asking.
I want to say at that time, I think I was 33.
Okay.
Because it took me 1 year from that moment to be able to get myself physically able to walk enough to start my process.
God, I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
No.
It's never too late.
So, I didn't even start jiu-jitsu until like 34.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Because I just had a man on and he was just talking about, I think he's 52, sold his house and started a business at 45.
Yeah.
So it's never like that was his thing. Is like, it's never too late. And so it's just, God, I fucking love it. I love when people go all in on themselves.
Got to.
Yes.
Who else is going to do it?
Yeah. Well, that's such a great point, right? No one else is. And I think that's what we're conditioned to think. Someone else is coming to save us. They're not. Okay. So a year you get, now you can walk.
I started going to like a CrossFit style gym and didn't look anything like anybody else. Never gave up, gave myself the opportunity to lose a lot of weight.
Yeah.
After losing enough that I could go to, like a style of fighting, skip forward a bit. I end up falling madly in love with jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I go through some amateur MMA fights. I didn't really do very well, if you want to know the truth.
That's fine.
Turns out I'm not violent.
Yeah.
And
my daughter's not violent either.
Yeah.
Part of what I love about your studio.
Yeah.
But anyways, continue.
So the violent part, it was a little much.
Yeah.
The girl in my second fight got severely hurt, and they had to call the fight. And the next fight I went into, I couldn't even hit her because I was like, I'm gonna kill this woman.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with you. So then I was like, I'm gonna focus just on jiu-jitsu. And my sensei, I was so blessed that when I was a few months in, he decided to open his own academy because we were training out of Jocko and waiting with the Black Zillions and all of the UFC fighters. I'm not going to name drop, but all of them.
Okay.
And I had this opportunity that most people don't get. And when he said he was going to open his own academy, I was like, well, I'm going to go with you.
Yeah.
So I went with him. And he, as a white belt, he invited me to help teach the children.
Wow.
And that was the change from there out.
Yeah.
And I didn't really plan on
it was like
opening.
destiny from the time you couldn't walk.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not getting too much into why you couldn't walk. Was it a weight issue? Are you comfortable talking about that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. The weight was gained from a surgery that didn't quite go right.
Okay.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Sure.
It was a messed up patella issue.
Okay.
And if you look at the x-ray of my knee, and it's kind of fun to send to people who are in the medical field.
I'd love to look at it.
They're like, oh, well, she's in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I fucking love that too. See, it's not too late, and the power that made the body heals the body. Damn it,
100%.
every single time. So I think people listening to that may be overweight or they're struggling with anything, it's scary to go to the gym. So anytime I'm at the gym and I see somebody that's overweight or kind of doesn't look like they know what they're doing, I always try and give them a head nod and a smile.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you got, you know, like, I don't want them to be uncomfortable there.
Correct.
Because while I never was overweight or able to do that, I fucking love it. Like, and I tell this story all the time. My friends know it. Like, I believe that health is our own personal responsibility, and that I'm going to go back to kind of the COVID times and the masks and everything, because I have my viewpoints on them and I don't mind sharing them. And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And I don't, if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine with me.
I have a feeling I don't.
Probably not. But when they were trying to force masks to keep other people healthy, my argument was, well, wait a second. What about all the time and effort I've spent in keeping myself healthy? That's like me going to you and saying, hey, I don't want to pay my rent or go to work this week, so you do it for me. You know, that's not really how it works. But, and I said this every single time, give me somebody who was 400 pounds and they started losing 20, 30 pounds, and they tell me, hey, I'm scared, but this is what I've been doing, and I've been working my fucking ass off, and I will put a bubble suit on to help you feel better about being around me, because I want to respect that you're doing the fucking work. You know, I love that. So with all that being said, the CrossFit gym, because I've taken care of some of the most elite CrossFit athletes on the planet. I've been to the games with them. We've done a lot of that stuff. Did you find that that was a great community for you? I know that the people I worked with, that would have been a perfect place for you to walk into, of emotional support.
So,
but not all the gyms are created equal. Correct. So that's what I was going to say.
What I have to clarify is it's a CrossFit style.
Ah, okay.
So different.
Sure.
Because I do believe in the community of CrossFit.
Yeah.
I do, absolutely. But
honestly, it was the strongest. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the workouts on a regular basis, but the community, I'm like, I just want to be a part of it because fuck.
I agree. Yeah. It's good friendships, but I won't kip. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Sure. I like
Way too many shoulder surgeries to kip.
Yeah.
No, so I didn't have that full CrossFit experience.
Yeah.
I did get that in Jiu Jitsu, like to the umpteenth degree, which was actually surprising as a female, that I went into such a, Brazilian male dominant academy and was still treated the same.
Yeah.
It was probably because I could handle my ass being kicked no problem and still get back up and be like, good job.
Yeah, respect. Yeah. And that's, so fast forward, you started immediately kind of taking care of the kiddos.
Yes.
How long before you were like, this is kind of where I want, the direction I want to go? Like, I want my own place. Like, how did all that?
So up until I was a blue belt, because there's only a couple adult belts you're going to see with your daughter when she gets hers, that there's a lot of kids belts, but once they're 16 years old, they get adult belts. So up until like my first, 18 months, I was more so focused on me, to be honest, in my process.
I love honesty.
I wanted to do the MMA. I was going to be the next best thing, because who else is going to think it if I don't?
Sure.
And I went in with that. And like the first girl I fought was like the Muay Thai world champion. No one would fight her. I'm like, I'm down. I'm down. I didn't win, but I didn't get hurt. And like she couldn't see for a long time. So I was like, I did great, right? We had a good time, guys. I got on the mic at the end of it and I was like, guys, I had so much fun, because everyone was mad that I didn't win. They were like, she should have won. I was like, no, I think it was a draw. I don't think I won. But
see, but to me, that's a sign of, I've spent a lot of time around people that are very high level athletes, and there's a difference in the mindset between winners and losers. Yeah. That's the mindset of a winner.
Oh, I thank you.
Losers always complain when it doesn't go their way and find ways to, you can tell the edge between people. Yeah. It's the ref, or it's this, or I'm not going to let that slide, or whatever. Yeah. So even more reason why I want you teaching my daughter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the reason that it was actually a loss is probably because I had only trained anything for 6 months of my life and went in with the Muay Thai world champion. Yeah. And I was like, I can do this.
Probably doesn't end well for most people.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's gonna hurt when I get hit in the face, and it didn't hurt. And I remember thinking, like, this doesn't hurt. And they're yelling, move your head anyway, it's points. And I'm like, but it doesn't hurt, guys. I'm fine. So yeah. But it was great. Awesome. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. And, I had a lot of great people in my life. It was actually, a friend's husband that kind of got me into, it went a different route than jiu-jitsu, but landed me in jiu-jitsu. And there's always been like this different feeling with it. And when it came to teaching the children, that first bit was more focused on me, but I saw them getting back. And the same night I got my blue belt, the kids got their first belt promotion. And that's when it changed. because I saw the kids being so proud of themselves. It had nothing to do with their parents. It wasn't because, oh, this person did this for me, or
Yep.
this isn't a participation trophy.
Yeah.
Like, these kids earned it, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Hands down, beautiful. And that's when it changed. I didn't think I would own my own academy. Really didn't. It kind of just worked out that way. That towards, once I got my black belt, you know, my professor said to me, you know, he's like, you need your own academy. And I trust him. I've trusted him this whole time. And
Why stop now?
yeah. And so, you know, he was sure on it. So I was sure on it. So I can't even, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you it fell into my lap.
Yeah.
I did no efforts to push forward. Everything fell into my lap, every single thing. So I was like, well, it's pretty meant to be.
Well, that's how we found you. Was it fell into our lap?
Yeah.
Like, this is how when you're in alignment, this is how the universe works.
Absolutely.
It's that simple. And so we found you. We were, you know, I had put out there, I'm like, look, I want my daughter to do Jiu Jitsu. This is an important thing for me. Like, I want her to learn. I want her to continue to learn for a long time. And I was like, but it needs to be the right place. And so part of the right place for me was like, okay, you took a step into a very male dominated arena.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, I know my daughter. I know her emotional state. She doesn't mind playing with boys. She loves it. But she's 6. I don't know what the intimidation factor is going to look like there, and if she's going to love it, and if I'm going to have to fucking drag her there you know, like, I didn't want all those things. So I was like, okay, if I could find a female instructor, this would be great, because then she'll be really comfortable. So, like, her and I will shoot bow and arrow, right? And I took her the first day to a range, and I was like, okay, I hope it's just us, because I didn't want her to go and it'd be like, you know, 10 guys shooting and then her and it'd be intimidated. And sure enough, I get there and there's another girl shooting and us. And
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, yes, you know, like, and so then she's like even more comfortable with it, which of course, like, listen, if I walk into a room full of dudes, I'm more comfortable than if I walk into a room full of women and I'm 35. You know, it's the same at 6.
It truly is.
You know, so I just put it out there. I want this when the time comes, whatever. And then I saw your business card somewhere and I picked it up. Didn't look at it for like 2 weeks, Googled it, and I was like, whoa. What's happening here? And then I think I sent you guys an email maybe, and you were like, oh, it's an all women's, you know, or a text message or whatever it was. It was basically all women instructors or senseis. And I don't know all the terminology. I apologize to you. Don't want to be disrespectful. But so I didn't. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then I would say 75% of the class is girls.
Yes, it's crazy.
And I, as a father, love that, because I'm like, yes, this is great, you know? And so you've just created, to me, something very unique that I don't think the jiu-jitsu world, or at least I was familiar with in the jiu-jitsu world, of a community for women, especially young girls, to learn that.
Yeah, I would agree. There are some other academies, even in our area here, that are owned by females. But I do think I've put a different twist on it.
Yeah.
I am over fighting. I am more about the love aspect of it, the flowing, the art of it. It's supposed to, jiu-jitsu is known as the gentle art. And the thing is the martial arts behind it is gentle.
Yes.
The sport can be a little violent.
Sure.
And I just watch, you know, all of these kids try to prove themselves because like their professor's watching or their parents are watching and this and that. And I'm like, or you show it to yourself. Mm-hmm. So there's a very specific way I have the kids face.
Yep.
You've noticed it. Like
Yes.
I have them face a different direction. The littler they are, like the class before your daughters, that's my tiny, tiny nuggets.
Yeah.
They face away from everyone the entire time.
Yep.
To break that habit of the, oh, let me look over there.
Yep.
Do they approve of me?
Yeah.
You know, so it's, even though, you know, there's so many members in the gym now, which I'm so blessed, it is primarily female, which I wasn't expecting. And everyone told me, well, you're female, you're going to attract females. And I'm like, I don't know. I like to train with men.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to get men.
Yeah.
I did not. I have them now.
Yeah.
Like now I have men and I have the boys in the class.
Sure.
And they're doing great. And it's, however, I think it's absolutely amazing. One of the other nights, a new boy joined the kids' class that your daughter's in. And one of the boys was like, yes, there's another boy here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, when do girls get that? Like, when can I have a room of 30 children that sit at 75% capacity of females?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I'm building like a tiny little female army.
You are.
And I didn't plan it. I didn't expect it, but I'm so happy with it because it's beautiful.
To me, I love it because it's exactly what we were looking for. It's exactly what I had asked for because it does matter at her age, and they are forming friend groups. And
Indeed.
I want her to form friend groups. I tell everybody about it. I put it in the group chat with the school. I'm like, get them there, and because I want her to. We are going to form same-sex friend groups. It's what they start doing at that age.
Yes.
And if that's going to happen, I want it to be with other people and parents that have the same values as me. And it probably turns out, if I were to have those parents here, we would have a lot of the same core values.
True.
And so I want my daughter to be around people like that. And, in a society where it's just good to have the same values at home reinforced everywhere you are, because I don't even tell, like, my daughter, if she asked me if I like her outfit, she stopped asking me if I like her outfit because since she's been little, I've said, do you like it? And I won't answer until she tells me if she likes it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. And she will put some funky outfits together. And every morning I'm like, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. And so sometimes she dresses me, like the other day, she's like, these blue shorts, white shirt, black tie. I'm like, black tie? I understand fashion. I'm like, whatever. So I'm walking around with these Tommy Bahama blue shorts and a t-shirt and a black tie all day because I'm not taking it off because she's with me, and I'm like, so I love that. I love that aspect about all of it, and that it's not necessarily driven by outcomes.
Absolutely.
Because that will come. They're 6. It's the same thing I've been reinforcing over and over again to people. Like, you aren't trying to raise the best 6-year-old. You're trying to raise a happy adult.
Yeah.
Re-fucking-lax. Yeah. Everything's going to be okay.
It's true.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, like, I think that we live in a world that sees lack, and so there has to be fighting to fight over the scraps. Mm-hmm. And that does happen in my profession a lot.
I'm sure.
A lot. I'm sure. And I'm like the complete opposite direction. I'm like, I'm super expensive. I'm super boutique. I'm super unique. Nobody else does what I do. Come or don't come, I don't care. Like,
exactly.
It's just like, and I have found that everybody I work with, I end up being so happy that they're a part of my tribe, my office, because of that, because it's so different. I think that's what you're creating, is like this long sustaining thing.
So. From what I've seen from teaching kids, it's pretty unlikely kids stay with it forever.
Yeah.
They do it for a while, and then they find tumbling, and then they find gymnastics, and then and they're meant to explore,
Yes.
And there's so many adults who are like, oh, I wish I would have found as a kid. I'm like, had you probably wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Possible.
And I'm like, so just trust that this is your journey and enjoy your time here.
Yeah.
And the thing is with kids, like they're going to go out, they're going to explore, they're going to figure out who they are, what they like. Some may stick with it for 10 years. Maybe they go into adulthood. Awesome. One of the things at the academy that I used to teach at, that I always told the professor, I was like, we need a junior coach, because there's these kids that are so good at teaching. And I see it in the kids now, and I know which ones are going to be my junior coaches and where they're going to go. And it never has to be the same road for any 2 kids in that entire room.
Yeah.
It is hard to teach one thing.
Of course.
Because I'm like, we all have to learn this thing for Jiu Jitsu, but it's okay if at the end of the week it's not for you.
Yeah.
But you have to try.
See.
You try with your friends here, and we see. And if it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
Maybe you prefer takedowns. Maybe you prefer taking the back. Who knows?
Yeah.
Everybody's different. The same thing in life.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's the principles that get replayed back. And it's actually, so I was trying, oh my God, forever ago, because you brought up not being able to walk, getting into jiu-jitsu. Koihi Tohei with what is it? What is his martial arts that I don't remember what his thing is, but he has the ki test. That's what everything was based off of, like the immovable body, the unbendable arm, like where he would send, ki through all those things. And Aikido, right? So Aikido came after all of these things. But if you read his book, it's not really about, that's like just there, right? And then of course America's like, oh, that's a kid. No, you missed the book. You missed a lot of the stuff, man. And because his whole thing was about energy and his body and owning and controlling his energy. And part of what he did, and I'm going to butcher it, and somebody's going to tell me how incorrect the verbiage I'm using.
They'll comment
whatever. And then we'll go viral. It'll be awesome. he had, I believe, pleurisy, a lung condition, and they told him not to exert himself.
Yeah.
Like I think they told him he had to go to the mountains or to the ocean, like whatever he had to do, like don't exert yourself. And then I can't remember how he came about it because it's been forever since I read the book, but there was an old tradition, I'm guessing in Japan or China, wherever he was at, where they would go to these studios, and I believe they would like slap the back and scream at the top of their lungs.
Okay.
And they would do this all night long until they got into like these basically meditative states where they would transcend the body and like all of these things. Well, that's the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do with pleurisy.
That's not relaxing by the ocean.
It's not relaxing by the ocean. But the guy was like, this is what you need. We basically have to make you a man. Like, you need to stress the body, stress the system, take the mind to a place that it can handle whatever comes to it. And he completely healed himself from all of that, going the complete opposite direction of the medical community. And then in that world, he ended up figuring out the unification of mind, body, and spirit, which is the basis of all of what he did, right? That's how he would have like the unbendable arms and things. And so I think it's fascinating to see like where a lot of these martial arts actually are rooted in, as opposed to what America has done to them.
True.
You know, and so I don't know. I love the aspect of like the body healing itself, because he literally just went into intense training in essence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it started to heal. And
It'll figure it out.
It'll figure it out every single time, you know? So I love that. Do you have any goals for the space now? It's kind of new. You're figuring it out,
new.
right? It's very
so
new. I love that, you know?
We're 6 months in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's growing fast.
It's growing. I think we're right around like 85, 90 members.
Yeah, I love that.
I haven't advertised yet. So now I just made a big order of kimonos.
Okay.
So I'm getting ready to drop the video that was recorded.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But, you know, people always joke with me. They're like, oh, you don't need to advertise. They're like, you got this. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I just trust it.
I've run in one advertisement the whole time I've had practice.
I was
So
like,
you don't really, if your energy's in the right place and you're doing the right thing, I believe you're always taken care of.
Absolutely. I would say though, my goals have changed.
Okay.
From the original, like I did a business plan.
Okay.
Completely separate of like a soul journey plan, you know what I mean, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So those two things were very separate. Prior to this, I had a life coaching company that I ended up shutting down because it was too much.
Okay.
To be honest, I was like, I can do so much more for you. Mm-hmm. And coaching, you're supposed to just help them see it. And I'm like, okay, this is going to take a really long time. I just want to tell you the answer, and then we could start improving our life.
Yeah.
And in jiu-jitsu, I can just be like, oh, do this.
Yeah.
And people find it without me having to do anything. And like the elimination of ego, the coming to face yourself that happens in jiu-jitsu. And I always explain it as extreme yoga, because I was in a yoga class this morning and I was next to this new gentleman, and his ego was probably like hitting me in the face. It was so intense. Even I wanted to like lean over and be like, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that position. It appears your body does not want you.
Yeah.
Like you're going to break something. And I was like, oh, this poor guy. So I just closed my eyes and went inside. But, you know, jiu-jitsu truly is like extreme yoga. You have no option to pay attention to the world around you. You have to pay attention to what's going on in front of you. You know, for people who I get people from, you know, recovering drug addicts to people with anxiety issues to, there's every aspect. Those that want to get, you know, just in shape. Those that are super in shape, the CrossFitters that come in and think they're going to annihilate everyone, and in 5 minutes they're exhausted because you've never lifted weight with someone sitting on your stomach.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. I'm like, let me sit on you and then you tell me how much you can bench press.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's so crazy what it does for you. And it's one of those things that I could speak till I'm blue in the face, telling you what it'll do for you, what it'll do for your daughter. Nobody will understand it till they walk in that door.
Yeah.
And that's, I would say, what my goal is for the gym, is to show what it can do. Yeah. It's not about being the best. Am I the best jiu-jitsu practitioner? Absolutely not. Am I even the best in the little area? No. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Do I think I have something special when it comes to teaching and like being a professor? Absolutely.
Well, there's a huge distinction between that and a lot of things. I mean, generally, football was my sport. You don't see the best athlete come back and be the coach.
Yeah.
it's two very different things.
It is.
And a lot of times the coach wasn't the best athlete, right? Not that you're not, but you see what I'm saying.
I
Like
do.
it's, and so, I mean, I think it takes someone I could not do what you do with the children.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time doing it with my daughter that I'm like, I can't imagine having 12 of them, you know, like it's in, so I think to me, it's like so special. And you have this like putty of their minds to be able to take them from, you're right, they can only focus on that. This is what they're doing. And so you're able to build that resiliency in them and like self-respect that often I feel like we're lacking in society right now.
I would agree. And I feel like that's actually my secret weapon for teaching kids. People will ask, like, how are you so good with 4-year-old children? And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just planting the desire inside of them to do something. And when someone proves something to themselves, and especially like the reason partner workouts are so effective, you don't want to let your partner down. So when we work in partners, they feel a responsibility. They want to help. They want to give back. I'll ask children like, hey, can you help me teach him? If they're not listening. And immediately, oh, that's me. I'm teaching. I'm in charge. And I do it with like the 3-4-year-olds the most, because I'm like, all right, who can show the class what to do here? And they're so proud. And they have that purpose. So to get the kids in the class to actually want to do something for themselves is actually my quote unquote trick.
I love that.
You know, because they're not going to do it for me.
Yeah.
I mean nothing, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, do they respect me and have a good time? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, they're not with me, but you know, a few hours a week.
Yeah.
So I have to create it inside of them, open up that door for them.
I love two things with that I love. One, I'm picking up that your life coaching background is absolutely what sets you apart as a coach, because again, you look at things through a very different lens, as opposed to like, hey, just do this because this is the next step of the evolution of what we're supposed to
Just
do.
do it because I said so.
Yeah,
Just do it.
yeah. Like which is how I was coached my whole life, which I respected, and it got me very far. I responded really well to that. You know, once I trusted the coach, I'm like, okay, done. You know, like this is what it is. Like, you'll make me better. I don't know. Like, let's just do it. Like running a mile before football practice in full pads. I'm not, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I'm certain that wasn't what we should have been doing, but whatever.
I agree.
You know,
that's not
like,
a good idea.
No, and full cleats, full pads, mile before every practice. I'm like, whatever. But so I think that allows you a way to communicate with children that some parents might not even be able to do. And that could be very refreshing for the children.
Yeah. You know, it's the one thing that is like, I went to college for criminal psychology for human like behavior to study. So I'm not gonna lie, that helps too. But it's the one thing that is hard is watching the kids and seeing the little broken pieces already. That's the one thing that gets me. And those are the ones where I'm like, okay, I know I'm not here to fix those pieces, but I'd like to give you some tools so you can.
Yeah.
And teaching the confidence. And I was telling you when I got here, I was laughing on the way here because I was like, wow, I'm going to talk and I have no idea what the topic is. And to me, like, that's confidence.
Yeah.
It's, okay, send me wherever. You could hand me a microphone in front of thousands of people and be like, all right, tell us something. And I'd be like, okay, so here's what I'm gonna tell you about.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. So to build that confidence for the kids so they can take care of themselves, it's a big thing. A lot of the parents have a hard time with it. When the kids come in, they go to check them in. You know, we have our little like Kicksite check-in screen.
I don't
thing.
even know Sloane's number.
That's okay,
I don't
but
even
you
know
shouldn't.
It. I don't.
And that's the point. Because the parents will be like, oh, let me go help you. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Oh, let me do this. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And I'll hear some of the parents be like, well, Professor Kelly said I can't help you. And I'm like, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Yeah.
And trust me, there's a reason.
Yes.
Because when you can give kids some independence, it becomes their journey, their process.
Yeah.
And when they earn that stripe and they get that next belt, they did it. And so many times, like in school, in other sports, it's this team, we are a team, but it's a personal journey for each person. So that's what's really cool about like martial arts is you have a personal journey within having a family journey.
Yep.
So I like that aspect a lot.
No, I love that. And it's funny because last time she was like, oh, what's my number? And I'm like, I don't know your number. And she's like, oh, yep, got it. And then like, closed their eyes and was like, I'm like, that a girl. I really didn't know her number. I'm like, I don't know. That's your responsibility. Yeah. And so it's cool to see all of that come to life. And it's, jiu-jitsu is very much, in my mind, I've never done it, but in my mind, it's very much like track. I loved track and field. And you trained as a team, but you performed individually.
Yes.
And it was like everybody was there to uplift you and do your thing. But when it came go time, it's just you.
Yeah.
And you either win or lose. And football to me is, again, the ultimate team sport. You got 11 people that have to be. If anybody knows anything about football, it's insane what has to happen in a matter of like 4 seconds for just it to kind of go right, let alone do good, and everybody has to be on the same page. And so that growth can be extremely frustrating when you're like, I fucking did what I'm supposed to do. Why didn't you? And so there's really like this, I think that there's such a good play. This is why sports matter, why team sports matter, why individual sports matter, why we need to have our kids participating in these things. And I also found that, and I think you're going to look at 6 months in, let's fast forward 8 years, 10 years.
Hopefully I'm retired in 10 years.
Okay. Hopefully
living on a farm with a lot of goats.
Okay. Yeah. We kind of have the same retirement plans. I want cattle, don't really into
I'll
the
take
goats.
Those too, but I want goats for sure.
But,
they eat everything.
Yeah. I'll have them
functional.
to keep things in check. And chickens, because they eat what the goats don't eat. But, like fast forward 10 years, what I see happening, if you're not fully retired, is, or the people that senseis that are teaching for you, is I developed relationships with my coaches that I could come to them with things that I couldn't come to my parents with.
Absolutely.
And it was a godsend a lot of the time.
I would agree.
Yeah. And so I see that, the potential of that happening, and it's a lot of weight.
It is.
It's a lot of weight,
It is. I have kids that come to me, teenage years, questioning sexuality. They don't want to go to dad about that. They, hey, can I just ask you a question about this? I see people in here are in same sex that. Does it matter? I'm like, not to me.
Yeah.
And like, there's so many things they come to me about that I know. I'm like, I can even see how hard it is for them to come to me.
Yeah.
So I can imagine how it would be to come to their parents.
Yeah. And that's, for everybody listening, that's why I'm so adamant on open communication with my daughter. Now, I don't baby talk her. We talk about everything. We apologize. We communicate, because, she even tells her friends, like, I don't need to lie to dad. Like, we'll be at the park and they'll say something to her friend, like, why'd you tell your dad that? Because I don't lie to my dad.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to.
No. And like the other day, I was like, look, you can have 6 marshmallows on top of the waffle, little mini marshmallows, She's like, okay. And then I had to go like do laundry, and I came back, or like whatever. I had to like step out, whatever I had to do. And I came back, and she goes, well, I had a few already. And she's like, me, love my marshmallows. But how many other kids could have then just been like, I didn't have any, I'm still going to get my 6.
Yeah.
And then we laugh about it. And I'm like, I know you love marshmallows. Thank you for telling me being honest, because I want to foster that now, so that when she's fucking 14, don't go to she's going to, inevitably, but also come to your dad with the question, not your other 14-year-old friend.
Please don't Google it. Whatever you do,
or don't Google it. Like,
you're not ready for the result.
I'm not ready for the results. And so, and don't listen to the news about it, but whatever it is,
about anything.
And so I think that that's also part of it, which is cool, because then she'll grow up with you grow up in these tribes of these people that are there to help do that. And it's a big responsibility, but it's important as a coach, and this is the part I don't think everybody's cut out for.
Yeah, no, I would absolutely agree on that. And I can tell when people come in sometimes, especially the parents, I'm like, you're not going to let your kid do this process. And I see it, and it stinks, because I want to help.
Yeah.
And I already know it's never the child. I'll put it that way. Mm-hmm. For anything, in any situation, for any teaching I've ever done with any coaching for any sport, it's never been the child.
Yeah.
And it never will be.
Yeah.
Within, some are unique. But
yeah, but I 100%.
You get what I'm saying, though.
No,
it's the adult.
I just had this conversation in my little complex where I practice. The psychologist works across from me, and we talk. He's actually going to come on the podcast, because he does like marriage counseling, and he does familial counseling, and like all these kinds of things, and he does a bunch of stuff. And we were talking today, and he was like, 99% of the time, it's never the child.
Yeah.
And they come to me, mom and dad come to me, and they want me to fix X behavior.
The fix.
Yeah. And he's like, and I have to explain to him, he's like, I use this analogy all the time. If I told you I can put a new roof on your house, but the walls are bad, and the reason then the roof's going to fall off because the walls are bad, like, you don't just put a new roof on, you fix the walls, you fix the foundation, you do these things. And he's like, and it's funny that people want just that quick result, but won't do the work to be more connected with their child, to be able to have the end result be better and longer. Correct. Later in life. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you see a lot of things that, fortunately, I don't have to see, on the back end.
I see a lot that fluffs my feathers. It's a good way to put it.
I can imagine.
And there's occasionally you'll hear me, like when parents are talking outside of the room and I'm trying to teach the kids, I will turn and I will not yell at your children, but I will yell at you.
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. I'm like, parents, I need quiet.
Yeah.
Set an example.
Oh, I've been there when you've done it before.
Set an example for your children. And some of the parents, like, they hang their head. Yeah. And the moms who have been there a long time are like, shh, she's going to look at us.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah, but the kids have zero concern in the world because that is the one thing that I love about having my own academy. From day one, it's been me. From day one, it's been the way I run things. And so it does have like that level of, okay, we're always in control of our own behaviors, each person in that room.
Yeah.
And it's carried to each kid. And because now they have it, when new kids come in, they pass it along. And I always remind them, hey, we have a new student. What do we do? And they'll be like, oh, we act in our best self. And they say it in 10 different ways. And
yeah.
It's cute.
No, I love that. And back to, you talking about being able to have the microphone. I say it all the time. Give me a microphone, put me in front of 1,000 people, give me a topic and I'll talk. Right. And I think it's important, like you're the coach. If you don't have that confidence, how the heck are you? Because 90% of communication is unconscious. 90% of communication is vibrational. Words don't mean shit.
Exactly.
And so if you don't have that as the coach, it's not going to be conveyed to the children. If I don't have that as the father, it's not going to be conveyed to my daughter. Like I'm speaking Saturday. I have an event that I have to speak at from 9 to 2. And there's going to be like panels and then individual speaking and like all these things. I don't have any idea what I'm going to talk about yet. And it's hilarious. The last time I did something like this, one of my friends was like, what are you going to, like we were driving there. Like, she's like, what are you going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know, I'm going to get a coffee. She's like, what? I'm like, I'm going to get a coffee. Yeah. And then like we got there and she's like, what are you going to talk about? I'm like, what time does it start? 6 minutes? I don't know. Whatever comes out of my mouth in 6 minutes. She's like, nobody does this. Like, she's like, I'd be having a heart attack. I'm like, it'll all come.
Yeah. I'm completely good with it. One of my end goals for down the road is for speaking, like motivational speaker. Yeah. And I'm currently writing a book, like autobiography. Beautiful. That is a, it's a tricky one. We've all lived lives. And I'm like, am I ready for the world to know how come I'm so chill?
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of flame to walk through.
Yeah.
And, right now being able to just give away part of myself through all the students, through everything is very simple. But I do at one point want to take it huge.
Yeah.
And I would love the idea of being able to like franchise Theologist Jiu Jitsu. But I would have to have like teaching. You would have to come learn how to be a loving professor, how to be a compassionate soul. And it's like, will that really hold when you start making money? Mm. And that's the concern. Like the confidence you were just speaking about. 100%, I could do that. You could do that. But how many people do you meet in your day?
And then how many of them that can do that want to be employees?
Yes. No.
Right. Zero.
I'm
right?
a horrible employee.
Yeah. I'm a
amazing
terrible
boss.
Same.
Horrible. Yeah.
Same.
But you told me to be there at 10. I'm purposely going to show up at 11 because don't tell me that.
Yeah.
No. It's very, very true. And actually I have a funny story that I was talking to my friend on the way here. We were talking about confidence, things like that. And I told her, I was like, I had a friend ask me to come out and meet him at a coffee shop. And he was like, hey, it's just going to be me, like my business partner. Maybe you can help us out with a few things. And I've worked for myself since I was 22 years old. So I'm like, sure, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need. I roll in shorts, not even this fancy, like sweatpants, shorts, flip-flops, hair in a big bun on top of the head. And I'm like, bloop, same thing. I'm going to get a coffee. Yeah, nice day, right? Yeah. I walk in to business executives. Full suits with their company embroidered on their suit. everything. And I realized, like, I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
And they're all doctors, and they begin telling me, okay, we'll offer you this much per month for your services. What's your turnover rate? And I really, to this day, have no idea why I was there. But they still want to hire me. For what? I don't know. And it would be a great salary, but I still don't know what it's for. And they were like, oh, well, what's your turnover rate? And I'm like, minimum 1 out of 10. And they were like, you really think so? And I was like, oh, I know so. Because in my head, I was like, 1 person out of 10, we could get to do anything.
Yeah.
I was like, so you want me to sell something to 1 person out of 10? Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, what would the maximum be? I'm like, 10 out of 10. Perfection. Why not?
Yeah, right.
No idea what I'm doing, but it's that level of confidence I want to teach the kids.
No, that's what makes you so good. And it gives me goosebumps thinking about it.
I wish I would have worn pants to the meeting though.
Well, you know what? Fuck it. Because I've had so much of this happen in my life.
Yeah.
It's hilarious because, so way back years ago, I had a Mohawk.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I had to go to a meeting, and I didn't realize how fancy the place was that I was going to the meeting. Also, a different time, I had the Mohawk, and I ended up at like a 5-star steak restaurant in cargo shorts. And I'm just like, fuck it. I don't care. I'm here for a reason. When I walked into that meeting with a Mohawk looking like an idiot, like just a complete buffoon, I was like, I just need to be the smartest person in this motherfucking room.
There you
go. And I was like, well, let's do this thing. And I'm still today really good friends with the person that brought me there. And he's like, I couldn't believe you walked in with a fucking Mohawk. And he was like, but we loved you, And it was, and one of the other things that I realized pretty recently too is, well, maybe not within 2 years, time flies. But I used to dress up to go to the office. Yeah, I'm dressed up now. You get whatever's clean on the top of the fucking pile, you get at my office. And I charge a lot of money to get my care. And but I've since the beginning, I've preached results, get results nobody else can get, and nothing else will matter. But what helped me get to that point was one of my patients that's been with me forever. Very, 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 very successful man. Called me trying to get a last minute appointment. And I was like, I'm leaving the gym, and if you want to come, like I'm coming like this, but I'm done closed for the weekend or whatever, but if you want to come over, I'll meet you there because I really like him. We hit it off a lot. And his exact words were, I'm not paying you for what you look like. I'm paying you for the results that nobody else can get. Absolutely. And I was like, dress pants are in the fucking closet. So it's like this ongoing joke between me and my friends are like, did you wear your nice cargo camo shorts today to the office, or did you wear your gym shorts to the office today? And it's like the ongoing joke. But it's true. Like, it's almost kind of like a pattern interrupt. You throw them for a surprise.
Yeah.
When, it's actually a neurological thing that's happening, which is kind of fun. But no, I love that. And I think, again, it's those things that are then communicated through. And it's unfortunately, but fortunately, what you went through built the resiliency. It's like making your bed, it built the resiliency to allow you to be able to do what you do now, and why people want to listen to you, and why people want to hear your story, and why I want my daughter to train with you. Because the Tohei stuff, I emailed a couple studios down here asking them about the key tests, asking them about the unbendable arm, asking them about mind, body, and spirit unification. Yes. And they're like, well, we just do Aikido here. I'm not really sure what that is. And I'm like, okay, that's not what I want. Like, because I want somebody to walk me through that part of him. Yes. So I was not just going to send my daughter to any jiu-jitsu studio, and I know enough to know that, like, just because it's like a Gracie studio or a this studio or a that studio or it says top team or whatever, like, it doesn't actually mean it's perfect, And so I just couldn't be more blessed that we have found you as the teacher. Like,
Thank you.
It means a lot.
Yeah, I do believe the academy is something very special, and it's an extremely saturated area for martial arts. Sure. I think like you're polite to the other martial artists to be within like a 4 to 5 mile ratio away. That's pretty close.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things where it's extremely saturated. But to me, I don't want I'll take them, but I've actually sent out a lot of people that have come to me because I don't want the people that want to be like, hey, I'm going to be the next world champion. Awesome. What are you going to do to get there? That's what I want to know. Not your end result. Like, what are we going to do? those that are like, I don't feel safe going into another school. I don't feel welcomed coming into another academy. That is somehow the market I have hit. And it wasn't what I was expecting. And it has been amazing. I thoroughly believe there's a whole...
It's like the island of misfit toys. I fucking love it.
There's a whole thing, and we call it like the nerddom at time.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one in pretty much, there's maybe like 5 of us in the academy that don't know what they're talking about with like the comic stuff and the superhero stuff.
No, I wouldn't know either.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan, but that's about it. I don't really know much outside of like that.
I have them come in, they're like, oh, I'm a dungeon master. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I do now. Now I've learned.
Sure.
So now I'm educated in the world of Dungeons and Dragons to the best of the need that I have to be. But it really, like, I believe if my academy closed, if we weren't there, then probably 95% of that academy would not continue training.
Yeah.
And to me, that's amazing because I want to expand. I want to make it bigger, and I want to reach all the people who are like, I'll never train jiu-jitsu. I have one client, she's 52 years old, one of my favorite humans on this earth, and she is a sound healer.
Yeah.
And her son has been doing jiu-jitsu since they lived in Brazil.
Okay.
Long time.
Yep.
And he always told her, Mom, just try it. Mom, just try it. Mom, just try it. No. The moment I opened, she goes, I'm going to try it. And she tried it. And every day she comes and tells me, you changed my life.
Yeah.
You changed my life. And I'm like, I didn't. Jiu-jitsu did.
Yeah.
But I just opened a door for you.
Yeah.
And
but she had to walk through it, which is beautiful.
And she did. And she is absolutely amazing. And it actually protected her in her job. Someone went to attack her, and she protected herself. The police were impressed. I'm super impressed. I mean, and the way she told the story is so cute because she's tiny and little, and she's like, oh, and I blocked it, and I took him down. I just did that takedown thing you showed me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And she's like, yeah. So it's about that, you know.
And I think that it is really important to have that because we are in a day and age where UFC has made mixed martial arts. It doesn't take, you don't have to throw a rock very far to find an amateur
Correct.
MMA person.
Correct.
I could find a fight every weekend here in Florida.
Yes.
You know, and so that's intimidating when you're just like, hey, that's not my goal. Because if I decide to start training, that's not my goal.
Absolutely.
At all. You know, like that's not what I want to do, right? If I was 22, 25, whole nother story maybe, you know, but it's not. And so to go into a place like that where it's a bunch of, and I'm not putting anyone down who does it, but like a weekend warrior, someone who's not, you know, someone who's 40 and they're like, I'm going to the UFC and I'm going to train like a crazy person. I don't want to be partnered with them. Yeah. Not that it's right or wrong what they're doing. You know, what was it? Chuck Liddell very old too when he did it all. Like you can do it, and I hope you do. I really do. I don't want to be your partner.
Correct.
My hands and my arms are very important for putting food on my daughter's table.
Exactly.
You know, and
we all have jobs.
Yes.
That's the thing. We all do. Mine happens to be that one. And I mean, don't get me wrong, we have like avid competitors, and like I still am happy to go hard, and so are a lot of the students. But I love that we have all the aspects.
That's what I think is so important.
You know, it truly is. It's so different.
Yeah.
We'll get you in a class soon. So.
No, we definitely will get me in a class soon. It's something, well, and to be honest, it's something I have been considering for myself. And then, you know, I'm like, all right, I don't know. I don't have time. I know a guy who trains and I like his spot, but I'm like, I don't really know where I fit in here. Kind of part of what we just talked about. Like, I don't want to rush into it. I don't care about the belt. I don't care if I ever get a better belt. Like, it's more like, can I learn? Can I become more disciplined in this? Can I learn something new? Like, that's the stuff I like. And again, the same reason why I never went to an Aikido school is because they didn't teach what I wanted, which was more the metaphysical quantum aspect of what martial arts were created and intended for.
Absolutely.
In the beginning. And so I think that it's beautiful what you're bringing to South Florida.
I agree.
And it's going to get big.
I think so too. And what's amazing is how many people, especially the children, and since it is a lot of little girls, how many are now able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's horrible, but when parents are like, oh my gosh, she hip threw somebody at school. I'm like, how was her form? And I'm like, and wait, with somebody, and I'll never forget one story, one little girl, somebody was being picked on, and she went up and asked them to stop a few times. and they didn't. And when they stepped to her, she literally hoisted them and threw them on the ground and pointed and was like, no.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm like, yes, that's the confidence.
Yeah.
You know, that was amazing.
Yeah, that's...
And, you know, I always offer, for anyone who watches it, I always offer my services for like schools that do like anti-bullying things. I'm happy to bring mats in, show the kids. I love doing self-defense seminars for women. I love doing all of that. But at the end of the day, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Sure.
So it's one of those things that you need to do it all the time. When people are like, oh, I want to take a self-defense class with you. I'm like, absolutely. I'm happy to show you a few things. But I'm going to be real that it's pretty useless unless you just come train.
Yeah.
And it's
because it's not going to become a reaction if something happens.
It has to
Same
be a
with
body.
if you concealed carry and you want to draw from concealed, like you have to practice it or it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go.
No, I have a concealed carry permit and I don't carry because I'm like, the first thing I'm going to do is use my hands.
Right. So
There's
for you, it doesn't
no
even
way
make
to
sense.
train the attack out of me.
Sure. Yeah. I'm the opposite.
I'm going to run at you and get as close as I can.
Which is very efficient.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever done that. Like 10 feet away, you almost can't even get a shot off if someone's running at you.
Coming in hot.
Yeah.
I'm not really. I have a bad knee. I can't run at all. But
I think the adrenaline would kick in that
towards you
situation.
pretty quickly.
I love it. All right. Awesome. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram, where they can find the studio, all that kind of stuff. And we'll wrap this up. This was good.
I'm located on the corner of Lake Ida and Congress in East Delray Beach, Florida. So conveniently right off Atlantic Avenue. And it's 600 North Congress Avenue. And we're right next to the Dollar General, which has great sales all the time. I always tell parents to check it out. They have like coupons on Saturdays. But and on social media, it's Tharros, which is THARROS BJJ. That's on the Instagram and the Facebook.
Beautiful.
And our website is the same thing, tharrosbjj.com.
I love it.
And everyone gets a free trial.
Beautiful.
Everyone.
Free trial. I highly, highly recommend it, especially if you have children, especially if you have daughters. My daughter loves it. I promote the shit out of it in school. They're probably sick of it, but I don't care. I think it's very important. So, all right. Thank you so much for this. It means a lot that you came here to do this.
Thank you.
Awesome.